Hi, I'm Elena. I've spent my entire life being the other child. You know, the one that's just never quite good enough. Look at your brother's grades. Why can't you be more like Marcus? My mom's favorite phrase growing up, always delivered with that disappointed sigh. I still remember my 8th grade science fair. I worked for weeks on my project about solar energy, stayed up late every night perfecting it, got second place. Marcus had won first place 3 years earlier with a project on magnetism that my dad basically built for him. Second place is just the first loser, Dad said when I showed them my ribbon. Meanwhile, they still had Marcus's first place trophy displayed in the living room glass cabinet. Girl, your parents are toxic as hell, Tara tells me over coffee. She's been my best friend since college, the only person who really sees me. You just got promoted to senior analyst. That's huge. Yeah, well, according to them, it's nothing compared to Marcus being named Employee of the Month at his fancy finance job. Their loss. You're killing it, and your boss knows it. Speaking of bosses, Michael stopped by my desk yesterday. Elena, that report you put together saved the Henderson account. The executive team noticed. Keep this up, and we're talking management track. First person who seemed to see my potential rather than my shortcomings. I met Jessica for lunch last week. Marcus's wife always looks like she's carrying the weight of the world. Everything okay? I asked. Fine, just fine. Her eyes darted around. Marcus is working late again. Big project. Something felt off, but before I could dig deeper, she changed the subject. Tonight was family dinner at my parents' place. I was actually excited to share my promotion news. Big mistake. I got promoted to senior analyst, I mentioned when Mom asked what was new. That's nice, dear, she said, immediately turning to Marcus. Marcus, tell everyone about that client you landed. Nothing special, he said with that fake modesty. Just brought in a small account worth about $50K. Our son, always so humble, Dad beamed. A natural talent. Elena's promotion comes with a 15% raise, Jessica offered. I shot her a grateful look. Well, that's nice, Mom said, in the same tone she'd used to describe an adequate parking spot. But Marcus was made for leadership. Remember when he was captain of the debate team? The rest of dinner was the Marcus show. His achievements, his potential, his brilliance. As I was leaving, Mom pulled me aside while Dad was slapping Marcus on the back for something trivial. I wish you wouldn't compare yourself to your brother, honey. It's just setting yourself up for disappointment. I don't compare myself to him. You do. Elena, be realistic. You'll never be as good as your brother. It's not your fault. It's just how it is. I felt something inside me finally snap. I walked out of my parents' house that night with my hands shaking. She actually said that to your face? You'll never be as good as your brother? Tara nearly spilled her martini when I told her at our emergency drinks meetup the next evening. Word for word, like I'm some defective product they got stuck with. Screw them! Look at you. You're smart, successful, not living a lie like St. Marcus. What do you mean? Come on, Elena. Nobody's life is as perfect as he pretends. Focus on yourself. Your parents are never going to change, but you can. I nodded, something shifting inside me. You're right. I'm done seeking their approval. Monday morning, Michael called me into his office. The Davidson merger is a make or break for us. I need someone who can handle the financial analysis, coordinate with legal, and present to the board. I want you to lead it. That's usually director-level work. Exactly. Nail this, and we're talking about your next promotion. This is your shot, Elena. I threw myself into the project. Late nights, early mornings. For once, I wasn't doing it to prove something to my parents. I was doing it for me. 2 weeks in, I was dropping off some documents at Jessica's house for Marcus to sign. He wasn't home, big surprise. He'll be back later, Jessica said, inviting me in. Her hands fidgeted with her wedding ring. I noticed an official-looking letter on the counter. The Goldman Sachs letterhead caught my eye, but the words termination of employment jumped out. Is everything okay with Marcus? Jessica's eyes welled up. He lost his job 3 months ago. He goes out every day pretending to work, but he's actually gambling. What? But he just told Mom and Dad about that new client. All lies. We're drowning in debt. The house is mortgaged to the hilt. He took out a second loan last month. Does anyone else know? No, and you can't tell them, especially your parents. Marcus would fall apart. I promised to keep her secret. But inside, I was reeling. Mr. Perfect was a fraud. That Sunday, Mom called. Marcus just got invited to speak at the National Finance Conference. Isn't that wonderful? I bit my tongue. Great. By the way, we need someone to drive Dad to his doctor's appointment Thursday. I'd ask Marcus, but he's so busy with his important clients. I have a major presentation that day. Can't you reschedule? This is your father we're talking about. I started keeping a journal after that. Every lie Marcus told, every achievement of mine they dismissed. Dates, times, exact words. I wasn't sure why, but it felt important to document everything. The Davidson presentation is next week, Michael said, checking my progress. Board members are flying in from Europe for this. How are we looking? I'm ready. This merger is going to happen. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Marcus is being considered for a promotion. Dinner this weekend to celebrate. Bring dessert. I looked at my phone, then at the merger documents. Time to focus on what actually mattered. The Davidson merger presentation went better than I could have dreamed. This analysis is remarkable, said the board chairman. You've identified cost-saving opportunities our own team missed. 2 days later, Michael called me into his office. The board was blown away. They specifically mentioned you in their feedback. I'm promoting you to Director of Financial Strategy effective immediately. 30% raise, corner office, and your own team. I practically floated out of his office. First call was to Tara. Holy crap! Director, that's amazing! I know, and I've been thinking about that business idea you mentioned. Financial consulting for small businesses. I'm in. For real? I already registered the domain. Tara and Elena Financial Partners just needs your sign-off. Within a month, we had 3 clients and a waiting list. Meanwhile, Jessica showed up at my apartment one night, eyes red from crying. Marcus emptied our savings account. $30,000 gone in one night at the casino. Jesus, Jessica, that's serious. I found these. She handed me loan shark notices. He owes people, dangerous people. I'm scared, Elena. Have you considered leaving him? Where would I go? Your parents would blame me. They think he walks on water. Speaking of my parents, their furniture business was tanking. Dad's refusal to adapt to online retail was finally catching up to them. Brick and mortar creates trust, he'd always say. My phone buzzed with a LinkedIn notification. 300 congrats on my promotion. My inbox was flooded with former colleagues and classmates. Is it true your business was featured in Business Insider? My former college roommate texted. Tara had worked her PR magic, getting us mentioned in a Startups to Watch article. The monthly family dinner was unusually tense. Mom kept checking her phone. Dad looked like he hadn't slept. Marcus, tell Elena about your new position, Mom prompted. Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm heading up the new international division. Wow, impressive, I said. Which countries? Oh, you know, the usual. Europe, Asia. Specifically, mostly Germany and Japan. Interesting, because I just had lunch with Stephanie from Goldman HR last week. She mentioned you haven't worked there in months. The silence was deafening. What is she talking about, Marcus? Dad demanded. She's confused. Stephanie doesn't know what she's talking about. Really? Should I call her right now? I have her on speed dial since we're working on a joint charity project. Marcus's face crumbled. I can explain. He lost his job, Jessica blurted out. He's been gambling. We're broke. Those collection calls you've been getting? They're for him. Mom nearly fainted. Dad turned purple. This is ridiculous. Marcus would never. Ask him about the second mortgage. Ask him about the loan sharks. Dad whirled on Marcus. Is this true? Marcus stormed out. Jessica followed, sobbing. 3 days later, my phone rang at midnight. Elena, it's Mom. I hate to ask, but we're in trouble. The bank is foreclosing on the business. The investors pulled out when they found out about the cash flow problems. We need help. I know you're not as. I mean, can you come over tomorrow? Please? I showed up at my parents' house the next day, not out of obligation, but curiosity. Thank goodness you're here, Mom said, ushering me in. Dad sat at the kitchen table, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. We're about to lose everything, Dad said, voice cracking. The bank is calling in our loans. We need $75,000 by next week. Why not ask Marcus? He's the financial genius, right? They exchanged uncomfortable glances. Your brother, he's not in a position to help right now. Because he gambled away his savings and took out loans from dangerous people? You knew? Mom looked shocked. For months. Jessica told me everything. Why didn't you say anything? Dad demanded. Would you have believed me over your precious son? The silence answered my question. So now that golden boy can't bail you out, you're coming to the disappointment? That's not fair, Elena, Mom protested. We've always been proud of you. I pulled out my phone and started reading from my journal. May 15th. Elena, don't embarrass yourself trying for that promotion. June 22nd. Marcus closed another deal today. If only you applied yourself like your brother. August 3rd. No man wants a woman who prioritizes work over family, Elena. We never meant. I have 3 years of these documented. Every dismissal, every comparison. Every time you made me feel worthless while worshiping Marcus and his lies. We're still your parents, Dad said. Family helps family. Then ask Marcus to help you out. The annual community fundraiser was the following weekend. I normally skipped it, but this year I went and donated generously. Tara and Michael came as my guests. We'd recently made Michael a partner in our consulting firm, which had grown to 20 employees. Elena, such a generous donation, said Mrs. Peterson, the organizer. Would you mind saying a few words? I hadn't planned this, but sometimes opportunities present themselves. I'm honored to support our community. Growing up here taught me resilience. When people tell you you'll never be good enough, you can either believe them or prove them wrong. My parents entered just then, faces falling when they saw me at the podium. Success isn't about having your achievements recognized by those who should love you unconditionally. It's about surrounding yourself with people who value you for who you are. After the speech, well-wishers surrounded me, including several family friends. Your parents always talked about Marcus, but look at you now. I always thought they were too hard on you. They're facing bankruptcy, you know. Such a shame. Mom approached me as I was leaving. Please, Elena, we need your help. I'll help Jessica if she decides to leave Marcus. I'll even help my niece and nephew with college someday. But you and Dad, you made your choice a long time ago. 3 months later, my parents lost their house and business. They moved in with Marcus and Jessica, creating a household built on failure and resentment. Meanwhile, I celebrated our firm's expansion with the people who mattered. To Elena, Tara raised her glass, the best business partner and friend anyone could ask for. And to our newest Fortune 500 client, Michael added. Looking around at my chosen family, I realized I'd finally stopped seeking approval from people who couldn't see my worth. I didn't need to be as good as anyone else. I was Elena, and that was more than enough. Would you have helped your parents financially after years of being compared to your sibling and made to feel inadequate? Or do you think Elena made the right choice by refusing to bail them out? Family is complicated, but where do you draw the line between forgiveness and self-respect? If you enjoyed this story of overcoming toxic family dynamics, hit that like button and subscribe for more compelling revenge stories. Your comments help us create content that resonates with your experiences.